Hey gang, just wanted to connect with you. We are heading into week 8, and we have knocked out a core start to the course, and that is you laying out your continues your improvement plan, what your overall proposal is, what your thoughts are, and I just want to highlight some of the sometimes I get questions on overall comments and things of that effect, like what does that mean, what is this piece, and I know you are definitely worrying about like make sure you're going along the right path. So I just want to give some general some broad statements of key is finding a very specific topic, either within a department, within a division, at the institution, um, and zeroing in on that. So the bigger pieces that I try to explain in that, almost all of my comments, I'm trying to look forward to that final assignment, as to what are things to be thinking about. And most of those things that I'm forecasting in those comments will occur at the next assignment pieces that you'll do in the course. So I don't want you to fret or get nervous about over that. Most of that you're going to layer in. So remember, overall, you're trying to solve a problem that you see as an issue at the institution you're at or at an institution you want to be at. And then you're going to begin to connect pieces of evidence to build the reasoning as to why it's an issue, who that issue affects, what tools you will use to help work through solving that issue, um, what pieces of information and evidence you'll gather from those that it affects, and how you'll use that information to improve and create a cycle of improvement overall. And then in the very end, you'll layer in a budget and a timeline as to how that connects. So remember, you don't have to solve this problem this semester. My biggest piece I want to continue to remind you all. Sometimes the students get a little nervous. They have to knock this whole project out. This is you prepping and showing exactly what could be done, and that's why at the end you give me a budget and a timeline, because essentially I see this as you being able to take this project, propose it to a supervisor or a VP, and saying, hey, here's something I noticed that's an issue, and we could improve it, and here is all the evidence, research corroborating it, a theory that supports my solution to change, a cycle to do that improvement. Here are some assessments we're going to do to check in. Here are the two key stakeholders at the institution that I think it affects the most. And here is how much it's going to cost and how long it's going to take. So that's essentially what this is. So knowing ahead of time, you are finishing up some pieces now, and you will, looking ahead like week 11, I think, you will have a discussion board post that starts getting you thinking about stakeholders of who all this might possibly affect. And then jumping to week 13, you will actually do an assignment called institutional agents, and that is where you will kind of narrow down two key groups that you think this can affect. Multiple folks that I connected with on these grade comments. I think you all sometimes try to bite off a big problem that could take you down many tangential paths, and that is definitely admirable. My warning is to just zero in on one thing. If there are multiple pieces to that puzzle, that is fine. You might want to include phases, so that for right now we're going to attack phase 1, but later on the next evolution of this will be phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and then this could solve that problem, and an overall timeline of that would be this period. So if you got such a bigger problem you think might be too broad to grab, try to break it into phases. That might make you feel a little bit better of doing that. So the only other piece that I'll remind you as we go along through this, that you're doing, is to at some point you'll tie this to the university strategic plan, because what I've found, anytime you want to make a solution improvement at the institution, we as colleges and universities in the United States um, are limited with our funding, with our budgets, with our resource allocation, with our people power, all those types of things. And the best way to sway someone to actually take up this initiative is to tie it to a strategic priority within the strategic plan of the institution, and department as well, but really the institution. So that is one thing I'll challenge you all to do towards the end, is to make sure that you've looked at the strategic plan at your institution that you are centering this problem at, and find a piece of that strategic plan do you think your improvement plan can connect to. Reason being, then when you go to present this to a supervisor, a VP, and they are trying to decide where to use scarce resources, you could say, you know what, we have a 5-year strategic plan. It talks about this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece, and under this broader piece, there are a lot of subcomponents, and that subcomponent 1.2 connects directly to what we're trying to do. So I think that justifies that we should work on this plan. And that way, you've then justified the value of it to actually not only impact change at the micro level, but also at the macro level. So I know that's a lot. I just wanted to I think break some of that down, clarify any thoughts, questions, because we're just really jumping into this now. We've gone through all these other pieces, but now you've said your piece, and this is your overall proposal, and now a lot of the other puzzle pieces of that scaffolding component of the final project are starting to come into place. So I continue to offer. I'm happy always to sit down on a Google Meets with you all. You all have really done a good job in taking me up on that. So shoot me an email, and we'll sit down. We'll walk through clarifying something. I'm happy to do that at any time at all. Seriously, I want you to feel comfortable doing that. So keep up the good work. The good news is this is a 14-15 week course, so we can break all that down and get through each of it. So talk to you soon, and feel free to reach out with questions.